Ready.
Ready? Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Last time we finished ayah number 104 from surah number 26. This surah's name is Ash-Shu'araa, ASH. So now we are resuming from ayah number 105. So it says that the people of Noah, the community of Noah, Prophet Noah, belied the messengers. They called them liars and they refused their message and accused them of lying. As their brother Noah told them, wouldn't you be mindful of God? I am an honest messenger sent to you. So be mindful of Allah and obey me. And I ask you not for any reward or recompensation. My reward is only on the Lord of the universe. So fear Allah and obey me. They say, would we believe you while your followers are the lowest of class, the lowest of people? He said, what do I have of knowledge regarding what they used to do? Their account and reckoning is only for Allah, not for me, if you would understand. And I am not going to drive away or kick away or turn away the believers. I am only a clear warner. They said, if you don't quit, no, you will certainly be stoned. He said, my Lord knows that my people belied me. Sorry, the last one, he says, oh my Lord, my people have belied me. So, judge between me and them with your own judgment, and open a way between me and them, and save me along with the believers. So we saved him and those with him in the crowded ship or ark, and then we drowned all the rest. In this there is a sign, and the majority of them were not believers, and your Lord is the Mighty One, the Merciful One. We will note that in this surah, the stories of prophets are kind of like given to us in synopsis, not the very detail that you hear in other surahs, because it gets so many prophets and their communities and their story out. That's why it's coming in short verses as to what the messenger said, how did they react, and how the story finished. It's just a synopsis of the community's life with their prophet. Then ayah number 123, the people of Ad belied the messengers. Ad is A-A-D. As their brother Hud told them, wouldn't you be mindful of Allah? I am an honest messenger to you. So fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for compensation. My pay is only from Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Are you building in every piece of land a sign, a miracle, a marvelous structure? And you are setting up factories so that you may live eternally, or as if you are living for eternity. And when you punish with tyranny. You're so harsh. So fear Allah and obey me, and fear the one who has provided you with all what you know. He has provided you with animals and children, gardens and springs. I fear for you a grave torment. They said, it's the same for us, whether you admonish us or you are not one of those who admonish. This is the manners of the old generations. These are the ways of our old communities, forefathers. And we are not going to be put to torment. We will not be punished. So they belied him, and we destroyed them. In this, there is a sign, and the majority of them were not believers. And your Lord is the mighty one, the merciful one. So as you could see, every community is getting very few short verses to account for how they responded to the message, what their fate was and why, and how they are set as a sign and a lesson for those who come after them. So the next one comes Prophet Saleh. So it says, the community of Thamud belied the messengers. Thamud, Thamoud, Thamud. As their brother Saleh told them, wouldn't you be mindful of Allah? I am sent to you as an honest messenger. So fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for a pay. My pay comes only from the Lord of the worlds. Do you think you would be left here, meaning on this earth, in safety and security, in gardens and springs, and cultivations and palms? Give me a second. Yeah. Do you think you're going to be left here in safety and security, in gardens and springs, with vegetables, fruits, cultivations, palms that is laden with fruits? And you carve houses from mountains, large houses, luxurious houses. So fear Allah and obey me, and do not obey the matter of those who are extravagant and excessive, the ones who spread corruption and mischief, and they do not reform or correct. They said, you are definitely one of those who have been touched by magic. You are not a human like us, so bring us a sign if you are one of the truthful ones. He said, this is a she camel. It has a day when he's pointing to a she camel, saying, this is a she camel. It has a day in which she gets to drink as much as she needs, and you, the community, will have a day to drink. So don't touch her with anything that would cause her harm, lest you will be taken by a grave torment. So they knocked the she camel and they regretted doing this. And they were taken by the punishment and torment. In this, there is a sign, and the majority of them were not believers, and your Lord is the Mighty One, the Merciful One. Then comes the community of Prophet Lut. The people of Lut, they belied the messengers. Mind you that in every time belying a single messenger, the ayah would say they belied the messengers in plural. Because the established principle in the Quran, if anyone rejects a single messenger, it is as if he has rejected all messengers. That's why belying a messenger is belying all messengers. So here it goes. The people of Lut belied the messengers, as their brother Lut told them, wouldn't you be mindful of Allah? I am sent as an honest messenger to you. So fear Allah and obey me. I ask you not for a reward or a pay. My reward is from the Lord of the worlds. You are approaching males by males, and you leave whatever Allah has created for you of wives. Clearly, you are certainly transgressing and trespassing the limits of Allah. They said, if you do not quit Lut, we are going to kick you out, and you will be among those who have been kicked out. Which points to the fact they must have kicked many people outside of their community because they disagreed with them. He said, I am denouncing what you are doing. O my Lord, save me and save my followers from what they are doing. So we saved him and all of his followers together, except for an old lady that was doomed, along with others who have been doomed in the past. And we destroyed all the rest. And we've sent upon them rain. And that was the worst rain for those who have been warned. In this, there is a sign, and the majority of them were not believers. And Allah is the Lord, the Mighty One, and the Merciful One. Again, mind you, the pattern continues. Every messenger comes, presents the message to his community, and the response is rejection, belying, and denying. Then they get the torment from heaven. You may look at this and say, this is redundant. It's the same everything. Why doesn't the Quran just give them all one story? In summary, that's what happened to these guys. Because people, if this were how the Quran style would be, it would not give as many named communities as it is, but now it is showing that the fact that people copy each other in their own path, and this is a phenomenon. This is not just one community. This is not one incident. It is phenomenal. But each community is punished with a different punishment. Some of them were taken out by the wind. Some of them were taken by a loud cry that shocked them, electrified them, and froze them. Some were taken by the earth being scooped with them, and then it would be turned back upside down on them, like the people of Lut who used to commit to homosexuality. Likewise, the same happened that they were rain from hellfire. So stones from hell were sent from the sky over them. On each stone is the name of the person it would kill. So you could say, like laser guided particular missiles that knows the name of the person. But definitely this is the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not a technology, it is Allah putting the name of the person on the stone, sending the stones in the form of rain from hell, if you could imagine, coming on people. Each stone knows where to go. So as the stones were coming and they were hit in numbers, the earth also was being scooped from beneath their feet, and it was put upside down over their head. So those details could not have been summarized if the mention is all these communities have done one and the same thing and they have been punished. That would not capture the details of what happens to each community. So next comes the people of Prophet Shu'aib, Shouaib. The people of Shu'aib are also called the people of Al-Aykah, Alayka. Al-Aykah is a tree. So it says, the people of Al-Aykah belied the messengers. As Shu'aib, their prophet, told them, wouldn't you be mindful of Allah? I am sent to you as an honest messenger. So fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for any reward or compensation. My reward and pay only comes from the Lord of the worlds. You see, this introduction is similar in every case between each messenger and his community. But some of these prophets, they come with a message, a specific message, in addition to the message of monotheism, believing in God. So he says, fulfill the weight and the measures, and do not shortchange people, and weigh by the straight cut balance, so that the straight scale, to keep the balance exactly. And do not undersell people whatever things they have, and do not roam the earth corrupting wherever you go. And be mindful of the one who created you and those who came before you. They said, you are certainly under the influence of magic. You are no more than a human like us, and we certainly believe that you are one of the liars. Do you know why these communities accuse their prophets of being liars? Because it has been established from early in the creation of humans and the sending of messengers that if a person comes and claims to be a prophet and if he could not prove with evidence that he is sent by God, then he is a false prophet. Following is that if you encounter a false prophet, somebody who claims to speak for God, but is only speaking for himself, then his punishment is death. So the reason they use lying as an accusation, because when they don't like what the prophet says, they accuse him of lying to justify before the community that they must kill him, they must get rid of him, they must stone him to death, they must kick him out of their land. So the accusation of the community to their prophets that they are liars is only a justification for killing these prophets. So they said, you are only a human like us, and we think you are one of the liars, meaning you are a false prophet. You're claiming to be a prophet, but you are not a prophet. They are not saying, we don't believe you. They are saying, you are not believable because you are one of the liars. You are a false prophet. So they ask and say, send the heaven on us, meaning rain us with the punishment if you are one of the true prophets. He says, my Lord knows exactly what he used to do. So they belied him, and they were taken by the punishment of the day of clouds. The sky turned pitch dark, and the daylight went off, and the punishment came upon them. And the ayah describes and says, this was a day of grave torment. In this, there is a sign, and the majority of them were not believers. You see, these two ayahs, they are repeated also after every story. The seal of the divine punishment is put on every community. And your Lord is the mighty one, the merciful one. Mind you, the combination of these two holy names. He is mighty, he is the merciful one. He is mighty, and he can show you in his punishment. He is merciful, and he can show you if you believe and follow and be mindful of Allah. Then it will start talking now to the Prophet Muhammad, saying, and it is certainly the revelation of the Lord of the worlds, talking about the Quran, that the Holy Spirit is the one who brought it down from God unto your heart, so that you become one of the warners with a clear Arabic tongue, because Prophet Muhammad spoke only Arabic, his community spoke only Arabic, and the message came in Arabic. But this is not why the Quran is in Arabic. As we mentioned before, the Quran is in Arabic because it is the richest language in the world. How do we know the richest language? Scholars, linguistic scholars, they tell us that the richest language is a language that has more roots than all other languages. And that's only true for the Arabic. When you have more expressions and richness in the language, you have choices that you can pick and choose to express everything with accuracy, meticulation, and precision. But if you have limited vocabulary, then you have to use what you have. I gave the example before of the word, for example, you in English. It could mean you, the male. It could mean you, the female. It could mean you both the males, or you both the females, or you all the males, or you all the females. Those are 6 words in Arabic. 6 different pronouns. Each pronoun would refer to a specific type of person or persons. This is just one word. And this goes to many things. You find, for example, that a lion has about 54 names.
A lion?
Yes. The animal has 54 names. Each name describes one quality or another of the lion, like courage, power, ferocity, fury, hunger, whatever you want to say, each has a name for the lion. So one vocabulary in English versus at least 27 others or 54 for those who put more names on it, you find that the discrepancy is like English has about 60,000 root words, while you find Arabic has about 12 million root words. So the Quran did not come in Arabic just for the convenience of the Arabs to get it in the language of their convenience, but because it is the world language that is absolutely the richest when it comes to basic vocabulary. There are research that have been done on this by linguists from every culture. And then it says, and the content of this Quran is in the early books of the early generations. Has it not been a sign for them that the scholars of the children of Israel know it and they know it well? They know that the Quran did not bring anything new or different. The Quran brought the beliefs that were taught to all prophets throughout all the generations. So Muhammad is not unique in that, except that he was the last messenger. But he did not bring a message that is different from the early generations or early prophets. It's all a message, one message, but different laws. Because each community has conditions that differ. So Allah brought different laws for different communities. But then when humanity matured and was ready to receive the final call, the final law, Allah sent Prophet Muhammad to bring about this final law. So the message is the same, but the laws are different until Prophet Muhammad came and his message was wrapping up whatever is good in any message, it is there. Whatever was confusing because of recording, because of transmission of knowledge, because of copying transcripts or anything, because of translation or interpretation, the Quran came and it was promised to be kept by Allah, not by people. Unlike all other messages, it was entrusted into the followers of prophets to keep them, but they did not keep it. A question: why didn't Allah keep every message? Well, because He, in His divine knowledge and wisdom, He knew that every message for all of these messengers were directed at their specific communities. But the message of Prophet Muhammad is a universal message that is addressing the entire of humanity. As we have gone over several ayat in the previous sections of the Quran, that Allah, when He talks to humanity, He says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, O mankind. When He addresses the believers, He says, O you who believe. You don't find this in any other former scriptures. Also, it was made for the very local or tribal language of the people receiving the message. So Moses spoke Hebrew like his people. Jesus spoke Aramaic like his people. He also spoke Hebrew, but his main language was Aramaic. Aramaic is a mix between Arabic and Hebrew. So it's a kind of like a mixed language or a hybrid language between the two. And his message also was a transition between the Hebrew Bible, which is the Torah, and the Arabic Quran. So his language was Aramaic, which is a hybrid language between the two. So has it not been a sign for them that the scholars of the children of Israel, they know that he is the prophet that they are told about in their book, and that his message at heart is the same message that they received from Moses and from other Israelite prophets. Had we centered on some of the non-Arabic speaking communities, and he would have read it unto them, they still would not have believed. And this is how we kind of like threw it through the hearts of the criminal ones. They do not believe in it until they see the severe torment. It will come to them all of a sudden, and they wouldn't feel where it's coming from. And they would ask, have we been given warning? Do you remember us being warned? They wouldn't remember that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala questions and says, are they hastening for our punishment? They are telling their prophets, bring it on, bring the punishment on us. Have you seen if we would let them enjoy themselves for years, and then whatever they have been warned against and promised has come to them? Whatever pleasure they had would not have given them protection against the punishment when the punishment comes. And we've never punished a village or a town without sending to them warners. This is the rule that the Quran consistently keeps mentioning, that Allah never punishes a community without sending them a messenger, a warner, a reformer, someone to tell them, go back to God. Don't continue in your deviation. You have to quit what you're doing. Don't do injustice. Don't do aggression. Don't do transgression. Don't spread wars and corruption. Don't act like tyrants. Don't use your power to destroy what people build. So all of these messages combined is what is called the message of Islam, in the form of what we call a message of peace and submission. We do this as a reminder, and we have never been unjust to anyone. Allah is talking about Himself. We never wronged anyone. And Satan's would never bring this down. The devils, they could not bring this Quran down. nor do they, nor are they supposed to, nor can they bring it down. Talk about the Quran because people who rejected the Quran, they said it's magic, and then they said, oh, that's from the devils. The devils are dictating to you, Muhammad, and you are just repeating it like a puppet. Allah says they are completely insulated from even hearing the revelation. The devils, when Allah speaks to Angel Jibreel to give him the revelation, to bring it to Prophet Muhammad, the devils cannot hear him. So I command them to the Prophet, ayah number 2 and 3. So call no one alongside Allah as God. Don't call anyone besides Allah as your God, lest you will be put to torment yourself. And warn your closest of kin. This ayah, warning the closest of kin, is the ayah that came to the Prophet 3 years into the call for Islam, the commission of being a prophet. Allah told him to speak publicly and to focus on inviting his closest of kin, like his own tribe, his own tribesmen, and his own clan, and so on and so forth. And lower your wings to those who followed you among the believers. What does it mean to lower one's wings? It is a show of humility, that the person is reachable, approachable, and easy and accessible. So the image here is as if an arrogant person is walking with his hands spread like the bird's wings, right? But when he lowers his wings, it becomes easier for everybody to approach that person. He becomes accessible, reachable. But arrogant people are pushing people away by spreading their wings of arrogance that pushes people away. So Allah commands the Prophet and the believers to lower their wings to each other. If they disobey you, say, I am innocent of whatever you're doing. And rely on the Mighty One, the Merciful One. Mind you, these two holy names are repeated in this surah more than any other surah. They are repeated with every story of every prophet, even here with what Allah says to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And trust Allah and rely on Allah, the Mighty and the Merciful One, the one who sees you when you stand up for prayer, for justice, for judgment, for teaching. Whatever you do, He sees you. And He sees your position in sujood and as you lift up of sujood, you and other believers. He is the one who is all hearing, all knowing. Then a rhetorical question, should I tell you on whom do devils descend? They descend on every fabricating, sinful liar. They spread their ears up trying to hear, but the majority of them are liars. And the poets, P-O-E-T-S, poets, are followed by people of high desires and lust. Haven't you seen that they travel to every valley with their emotional appeal, an emotional attempt to affect people and to draw people to listen to them? Haven't you seen that they say that which they do not do? Is this a negative description for the poets? Yes, it is. Because poets, they allow their imagination to go as far as the impossible. So they talk about people flying or birds giving birth and things that you can find in reality. Why? Because their function is to inspire the imagination of man to the extreme impossible. Then it gives an exemption. It says, except for those who believed, those poets who believed and did righteous deeds and remembered Allah a lot and stood up against oppression and wrongdoing. And those who have committed wrongdoing, they will know the end of their miserable fate. This is the end of Surah 26, which is Surah Ash-Shu'araa. Any question? Yes.
If Arabic is the most richest language, what is the second richest language?
I can search and get back to you on this.
Okay.
Very good question, mashallah.
He's in class learning right now, 3:30. I told him that Arabic is important to learn. You need to do good. And it's the school books here. It's important to go to the class at 3:30.
Yeah. Good for him. Very good. Good for you. When did you start learning Arabic?
Months ago, I forgot.
How long ago was it when you started?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe a few months.
Huh?
Maybe a few months.
Maybe a few months? Okay.
Okay, here's a different question. In the Quran, in Jesus' time, the Bible, they had changed stuff. And they couldn't keep it and couldn't protect it, and they changed the message. So now the Quran says that it's been promised to be safeguarded.
Yes.
Does that mean that it cannot be changed?
Yes, it cannot be changed.
How?
It cannot be imitated even. Let me give you an example that everybody would note and can deal with. Here in America, how long has the US Constitution been with us as a nation? 200 some years, right? Now, if anybody says the Constitution gives you that right, can he get away with it if he's lying? Why not?
Because it's not what the Constitution says.
Because we have the copy of the Constitution almost in every school, in every university, in every library, right? And some people actually, maybe lawyers, would memorize it because they use it in their practice, right? So any book that has a huge community memorizing it and using it as a constant reference not only for law, but for daily life. And the entire community has a huge percentage that memorizes it from cover to cover, from beginning to end, word for word. Could anyone say this is in the Quran in the presence of Muslims and he is lying and he can get away with it? Because a lot of people will tell him, you're lying. No, show us. A lot of people have original copies of the Quran, right? So the chance is zero that anyone could change a single word in the Quran.
Okay. So people who memorized it, that was the point of it, that the
Yes.
community had
They
memorized it.
memorize it, and it is printed in millions of copies. And it is known more or less fully to at least 50% of the world Muslim population, which is 1.6 billion people. Imagine 800 million people are in touch with the Quran, and more than that, have it in written, printed copies that could not be changed. Furthermore, those copies are only allowed to be authorized by certain institutions. So not anybody could print the Quran and put their name on it. So what do people do who want to discredit the Quran? They make false translations, but nobody could change the Arabic original one. I hope this answers your question.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, I played. Oh, so wait, why do God wait? So Allah made all the stuff in the whole world.
Why did Allah made all of that stuff?
Yeah, did Allah like so Allah made trees and food?
He made it for us.
Yeah,
Do you think we could live without it?
we can't live without it.
That's why Allah made it. He made it for us. And He tells us this in the Quran. It says that we sent water from heaven to grow trees and farms, to grow fruits and vegetables. We just read the ayat. And all of this is for you as part of Allah's blessings. You understand? Okay, this is a very good question.
Thank you for that.
Very good. No questions on the internet?
Nope. We're good.
Okay, thank you.